This is The Herd, wherever you may be, and however you may be listening, live in Los Angeles, Hour 2, iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, FS1. Glorious week. Christine Leahy is joining me. We're going to have Earl Watson, is Sharp, former UCLA star and Suns head coach, joining us. Also, the documentarian of Andre the Giant HBO documentary, which is aired last night in Hollywood, supposed to be unbelievably good. He's also doing a Michael Jordan documentary, which is supposed to be fantastic. So he's going to be joining us in about 45 minutes. I'm very, very excited for that. Very excited.
Are you going to talk about this guy behind you?
I am. Joel L. Embiid is going to have surgery. He broke his face. He's going to be out for a month. Potentially shorter, but a month, meaning he'll miss the first round of the playoffs. He's their best player. LeBron, it should be noted, broke his face in 2014, wore a mask, and scored 61 points soon after that.
You're saying that he should just play through this?
I didn't say that.
But when Kevin Love got his tooth knocked out, you were okay with him missing time?
Miss a game. LeBron scored 61 wearing a mask with a broken face. Anyway, Joel Embiid is hurt. By the way, trust the process. Trust the process. TTP. Trust the process. TTP. You know what's synonymous with trust the process? DNP. Did not play due to injury. Simmons. Nerlens Noel. Embiid. Okafor. Fultz. We always talk about the process. Let's be honest about the Philadelphia Sixers process. Here's the 8 steps to the process. Be awful. This is how it worked. Be awful. Draft the tallest player in the draft. Number 3, player gets hurt, or all of them. Ignore the league emphasis on three-pointers. Slowly, painfully, gradually get better. Finally make playoffs. Top picks run into each other. One's gone, playoff exit looming. I don't know. I tend to really like LeBron's process. Join a team, make the finals. That's sort of the process I like. Sixers and LeBron could meet in the first round, although Dario Saric, a very good player for the Sixers, says, no, thank you.
Are you intimidated by anybody?
No, I don't want to play against LeBron. He's obviously, in the top 2, top 3 players in the world, in history maybe, and I don't want to judge him. Everybody else, are welcome to come here.
That's the smartest thing anybody's ever said in the NBA. Everybody, all athletes are always like, bring it on. I said this yesterday. Everybody wanted to fight Mike Tyson. Everybody, they'd run through tomato cans, give me Mike. It was like, you sure you're ready for Mike? Now, if you're Evander Holyfield, you were battle tested. You were ready for Mike. If you're Lennox Lewis and you're that gifted, he's probably the most underrated heavyweight of my life, okay, you're ready for Mike. Okay, the Warriors are ready for LeBron. The Spurs, Celtics could be ready. Philadelphia is not ready for LeBron. They're in the process still. Trust the process. In fact, everybody's talking at this time of the year about MVP. I don't even think Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid would be the MVP of the Philadelphia 76ers. I think MVP in Philadelphia, there are 2 people. I would call them most valuable physicians. Christian Dodson and Peter Fitanzo would be my MVPs. They're the team doctors of the Philadelphia 76ers. This trust the process thing, the one thing it has absolutely been about is injuries. So that's why I say, when we talk about great players, the Warriors' entire starting 5 has been hurt. Chris Paul, Harden, John Wall, Giannis, Blake. You know who's not hurt? LeBron. March, best month ever. Played every game, 32 a night. There are people ready for LeBron. The process is not ready for LeBron. Joel Embiid is now out probably close to a month. 13 NBA seasons played from Seattle and Oklahoma, Indiana, Denver, Utah, and Portland. Former Phoenix Suns head coach, UCLA star. So glad he's back on the show. I asked my guest booker a couple of weeks ago, let's get Earl Watson back on the show, and he's joining us again today.
Hello.
People think I'm hard on the Sixers, and you know what I say to that, Earl? I've been watching this league for 40 years. It's a baby step league. There is the be bad, get good, finally get into the playoffs, for a couple years get pushed around, and then you move to the next level, hopefully. Now, the Chicago Bulls with Derrick Rose never paid it off. Boston did pay it off. Houston this year, I think they're going to pay it off in a couple. Minnesota, we've seen go through this. Now they're in. I mean, I look at Philadelphia, Joel Embiid. I think this is just part of the baby steps. I think they're a one-and-done team. Is that outrageous?
I think in the first round they're going to have some problems. I think the team is for real. I think what you're seeing is a team that's dynamic, full of young guys. Markelle Fultz is back. I compare them a lot to a younger OKC. When they had Russ, they had Kevin Durant, they had James Harden. They've been looking for that third guy. Hopefully it's Markelle coming off the bench like James did that can give them a dynamic growth that sometimes, like OKC, you can only see them be for real and accomplish that by growing in the first round of the playoffs like OKC did when they lost to the Lakers. But you knew them losing in the first round and knew that for years to come there are going to be problems.
Okay. So Westbrook last night. And again, I get told I'm a hater. And I've always said the same three things. Dynamic, at times can be tough to play with. Don't like him at the end of games. And unfortunately, as you know, the playoffs are all about end of games. I mean, it's situational basketball and football, I would say. Super Bowls. Look at the Patriots. Between the Atlanta one, between the Eagles one, and between the Seahawks Super Bowl, they were all situational football. Comes down to the last 2 minutes. Well, playoff basketball is the same thing. I'm watching them last night. Can't we just be honest and just say, Russell ain't great late? That's fair, isn't it?
I think the last 2 minutes of the NBA for sure is about not who can make the biggest shot or make the most dynamic play, but who doesn't mess up. Russ needs to learn how to finish games in a pattern thinking type of a way.
What do you mean?
So you have players who are pattern players. Darren Williams was a pattern player in Utah for Coach Sloan. You knew the offense would be the same every year. They would run autos, and he mastered those patterns. Coach Sloan never lets you play outside of his offense.
Okay.
LeBron James is an innovator. He's a quick thinker. He's the maestro of basketball. He controls every orchestra on the court, and how he takes over games and creating throughout the flow of the game is a fluid puzzle thinker.
Okay.
Russ is a pattern player. Russ needs one set for down one set for down two, one set for down three.
So he goes into these situations with a system.
Yes.
He doesn't have to make it up as he goes.
Yes.
Russ, we're down 3. Here's what we do. Here's the tunnel you enter.
Here's the tunnel you enter, and here's every option. Now let's walk through it. Let's talk through it. Let's know Melo's going to be in the left corner. We know Paul George's going to get a flare screen or a hammer play on the weak side of the ball in the right corner from right wing to left corner. And this is what you have looking downhill. Steven Adams is rolling. You have his entire middle of the court to make a play. Read the defense. Now let's take that. Let's walk through it. Let's see it at the end of games. Then let's study the film so you can get better. So that way he's comfortable knowing what's going to happen.
That's really interesting. That's why you're a coach. That's really good. Some players are different. Like you said, Magic can kind of ad-lib his way. I watched Russell Wilson. I'll give you an example in the NFL. Russell Wilson's like LeBron. Nobody in the world knows what's going to happen except Russell Wilson, and it almost always works. He is so cognitively quick that, and this is Magic had this capability. Some guys they're like kids running through a mall. They're just in and out of the kiosks and the people. And as a coach, you have to go, it'll land at the right spot. By the way, it's no knock on Russell, but he like you said, he needs to have certain systems and enter them late in games. It's no knock on him. It's just the way he is as a player.
Let's think about this. Magic, LeBron, their entire lives they had the ball and they played a point. Russell Westbrook wasn't a point guard coming into the NBA. He was a dynamic two guard that learned to handle the ball and play the point, and he's learning on the job.
So like he entered the NFL and then they said, okay, now you're quarterback. So he didn't have that years and years and years, to your point, of being the guy. Good, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move to this. Kevin Durant, I can't figure this out. My friend Jason Whitlock always says this. He said, some athletes have rabbit ears. They hear the critics, they hear the media, they hear the talk shows, they read the papers. Kevin Durant's interesting. In the offseason, he got all these huge tattoos and Rick James and stuff, and we were all like, I don't understand it. And now Kevin Durant's getting ejected constantly. So he comes back last night, he gets ejected again. Kevin Durant was mild-mannered, pleasant kid, not a trash talker. He is now Rasheed Wallace. What has happened to him? Get inside his head. What do you think's happening?
KD is at the point of his career, like the play call last night, he didn't get the foul.
Right.
That's a foul.
Okay.
The NBA is all about earning your rep, earning the whistle, playing so many years and dominating and having respect for referees. So we all talk about when you respect the referees, which is now a topic of conversation in the NBA, you will be rewarded. What KD shows that's not always true because he always respects the referee. He's not getting these calls. So now he has to put on that edge. He has to facilitate kind of like ejections. He's strategic. But one thing he has to realize is now you're entering the playoffs with an injured roster. Your players are down. It's time to polish off that edge. It's time to get back in a great mental space because what you have to do to overcome these next couple of rounds is going to physically and mentally fatigue you. But he's also sending a message to referees like, you better call that call. I was MVP of the finals. That is a foul call. I need that call. Respect that.
He's sending a little message, a little pre-playoff messaging.
Absolutely.
And finally, yesterday we got into this discussion. ESPN had a most influential guys in NBA history. Mine was MJ, Steph, and LeBron. Your list, one of the guys I did mention on my list, he wasn't in my top three, but I think Iverson had incredible influence. So Earl Watson's most influential players of all time. And I'm just going to let you go through it and give a sentence or two on why. So you start with MJ.
MJ, for the culture. He was the first to kind of bring the swag to the NBA. Winning dunk contests with gold chains. He had the wristband. He had the knee sleeve that went around his calf. He flipped it down for the red to show. Every kid in the world was doing that. And then the Jordan, speak for itself. Yeah. That's culture. That's basketball culture. That's the birth of basketball
culture. He made
culture.
Basketball apparel, global.
Global.
All right, number two, LeBron, why?
LeBron, everything he's doing beyond the court. He's making movies. He and MJ are the only two superstars that you can say that's never been injured. And the wear and tear, the athletic ability, what they bring to the court is beyond trend setting. LeBron can touch everything around the globe in the atmosphere and make it come to life. And his team is very powerful. His vision is very powerful. And he was once knocked for what he was doing like a young Lonzo Ball. So LeBron, to me, is a definite trendsetter, and he's kind of taken it, elevated MJ's level.
Now, Iverson's very interesting because I mentioned him yesterday. You have him third. Why?
So the evolution of basketball and hip-hop has always been parallel. Like which is why you see musicians at every NBA game. It's an attraction there. Basketball is played with a rhythm. Hip-hop has a certain rhythm.
Yeah.
So hip-hop then evolved to gangster rap. It evolved to an edgier type of music. And Allen Iverson was that first kid.
Edgy
to come in with tattoos, to come in with the cornrows, to come in and just bring a gangster rap element to the NBA in a polished kind of a way and became a trendsetter for culture alone. He birthed the inner city culture in the NBA.
Yeah, that's really interesting. By the way, I had him on the couch here about 6 months ago, and he just blew me away. He was so interesting. Like, it was the Allen Iverson, because I didn't cover him in Philadelphia, and I covered him in 7 or 8 games. Really interesting. Now, this is interesting. You have Magic at 4. I was talking to a friend about this last night. I said, Magic's great, but when I was a kid, he was a 6'9" point. No little kid thought, I can be Magic. He was built like a power forward. I just thought he was great. I didn't think he was influential. I actually think he's influential as a businessman out of basketball, but you have him number 4.
I think because if you look at Magic and what he brought to the team, the Showtime era, the champion, the smile, the guy that got on the court and he brought everyone who entered the arena, he brought them a new perspective on life in sports. Pushing the fast break, making passes, foreseeing things happening. He was the first, to me, that I can remember was a fluid thinker. He didn't need to be a pattern thinker. He could play the game, see the game, change the game, take a coaching plan and elevate it. And then what he did outside of sports, guys are still trying to do it. But the world is changing to more tech-savvy guys, right? Tech-savvy opportunities. So Magic was the first to do it, and he still touches the game. He's touched every player from Russell Westbrook all the way down to James Harden, DeMar DeRozan, Kobe Bryant. All these young guys still follow his path, and it's kind of networked and kind of became a web for younger players, even players who are dominant today.
By the way, I was at the Lakers game the other night. My son was watching. It's absolutely remarkable. So we're sitting watching the game. We're behind the Laker bench, and the entire end zone stands up. I thought it was a fight. Like sometimes if there's a fight in the stands at a game, the whole crowd stood up, kind of layered. And I looked over and I'm like, oh, Magic's entering the building. All these years in Los Angeles, 20, 30 years, he walks into the Staples and the crowd rises. It's really godlike. I mean, it is incredible. This is a city, Los Angeles, where you can see, an actress on every corner, and Magic still inside the building in which he played. The crowd rises, fascinated with Magic Johnson. Okay, number 5. What in the... I mean, come on, Earl Watson. Westbrook is your 5th most influential player.
We're talking about changing the game and influence the game of basketball. Russell was the first to bring fashion to the sport. When Russell started wearing fashionable, questionable, interesting clothing, everyone was locker rooms were knocking him, laughing. They thought it was a joke. Russ brings this new fashion, and every player is now have copied it. It's now you tune in early to NBA games just to see what players are wearing because of Russell Westbrook, and he's the first villain that has an impact on pop culture. You can get his cologne. You can buy his clothes. He goes and tours Europe about fashion shows, and he's invited to. He has an influence on culture, fashion, and sports. And Russ is so dynamic, and he's playing that villain role because truly Russ is truly one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. I've seen the evolution of Russ. At UCLA, he would go into games at UCLA, and he would put UCLA and different basketball logos in his haircut. So Russ he has always been trend setting, and for culture and what we're doing today in basketball and the NBA, he's definitely top 5.
Well, you're one of our top 5. Great seeing you, man.
Thanks for having me.
Great seeing you. By the way, Andre the Giant documentary is spectacular, I am told. I can watch it tonight. I got sent it last night on my Gmail, and I did not watch it yet. But the documentarian Jason Hare will be joining us in studio this hour. Hey, we're big fans of Simply Safe Home Security. We were big fans of it years ago, and now it's been upgraded. If a storm takes out your power, Simply Safe is ready. An intruder cuts your phone line, Simply Safe is ready. Destroy your keypad or siren, Simply Safe is there. Maybe it's overkill, but they have to be ready for everything. Simply Safe could cost an arm and a leg, but it never has. They charge what they believe is fair for 24/7 professional security monitoring, $14.99 a month. There is no contract. There's never been a hidden fee. We recommend Simply Safe to everyone we know. Check it out. Call to action right now. SimplySafeColin.com. COLIN. SimplySafeColin.com today to protect your home and your family.